Welcome to IDA's video channel. In this video, I will explain a little bit more about the mappings and where we use mappings. I used a little bit older drawing where I do have a pipes displayed in a profile view as well as in plan because it will be easier for me for this exercise. And now let me explain you about the mappings and where we use them. If you want to run the analysis of the bulk water pipeline or run a quantities or as-built or some other operations, you need to go to IDA's Pipe Manager, or if you use extended ribbon, then you need to go to IDA's Network Edit, Manage and Analyze. Those two commands are identical, so they do the same, so it depends what you prefer. So Pipe Manager or Manage and Analyze. I already covered a little bit about the Pipe Manager in the video where I covered how to swap all the horizontal bands into a different structure type. But I will repeat a little bit and then I will go a little bit deeper regarding the mapping. So let me open Pipe Manager. In this drawing, I have a stormwater network, which I have as a crossing service, and there are some issues and IDAS will inform me about that because this is not a network that I use for analysis, so there might be a missing structures or something else. I click OK, and then it loads the network. Because I already opened this drawing in a Pipe Manager before when I was swapping the horizontal bands, that's why I have the default network as a water network, but in your case, it might default to stormwater network or any other network that you have in your drawing. If I go to this dropdown, it offers me all the network types that I have in the drawing, and I can switch between them. For example, if I go to stormwater, I can do that. It gives me the information that there are some issues found, then I click OK, and this is the stormwater network. And if I go back to water network, then it switches back to bulk water pipeline. Now the question is how IDAS knows that this network is a bulk water network. That's driven by mappings. If I go to mappings under the networks, here I have a part list that are available in my drawing. And then I can assign the network type. So if the network is using water part list, then it is assigned as a water network type. What if I use a different part list? Let me show you. I will close this window. Yes. Then I go to Ribbon Home, Tool Space, Settings. Then I will scroll down to Pipe Network, Part List. And I will create a new part list. I will go to Copy, and I will call it My Part List. Completely new part list. Then I go to Prospector, Pipe Networks, Networks, Bulk Water, right-click, and I go to Network Properties. And under the layout settings, this is a place where you can specify the part list. And I want to use my part list for this network. So now the part list, my part list is associated with my bulk water network. OK. Then I go to IDAS, Pipe Manager, or Manage and Analyze in the extended ribbon. Then I click OK. And it shows me stormwater network, bulk water. That doesn't look right at all. Why? Because the mapping is a problem. Let me go to Mapping, Networks, and you can see that my part list doesn't have any network type assigned. I need to assign the type. So if there is no type assigned, it assumes that this is a stormwater network, for example, which might not be true. So then I will select that this is a water network. As soon as I do that, IDA says close and reopen Pipe Manager. So let me do that. I click OK. But when I'm closing in, I'm clicking on Update. The reason why I use Update because I want to save the last work I did in a Pipe Manager. Let me reopen Pipe Manager again. OK. And as you can see, the water network, bulk water, and everything seems to be right. By the way, you might also need to assign your design surface. If there is no design surface, just assign the surface you want to use. Let's go back to mappings, and I want to show you a little bit more here. Let's go to Structures. And these are all the structure styles available in your drawing, and then you can assign the type, structure type, that IDAS recognizes. For example, air valve, you want to treat it as an air valve, or horizontal band as a water junction, water junctions as a water junction, and so on, reservoir as a reservoir. What if you use custom style? Let's do that. I will close because I didn't do any changes. I can close it now, yes. Then let me go to reservoir. I will select reservoir, then I go to structure properties, and I will make a copy of the water reservoir style. So I will go to copy current selection. Then of course I can modify, but what I will do, I will rename it. I will call it water my reservoir. That's a different style name. Let me click OK. And OK. It looks very the same, but the name is different. Let me open Pipe Manager. OK. And if I zoom to plan, you can see that there is this icon. And if I look at the legend, it says unmapped structure. If I go to structures, it says here unmatched or unmapped, and it says reservoir type doesn't match the network type. And if I go to mapping, structures, and if I scroll down, I can see that there is a style which is called water my reservoir, and it doesn't have any structure type assigned, which means IDAS doesn't know whether it should treat it as a junction, reservoir, tank, or any other object type. So click on the drop down, and then you can specify this is water reservoir. And then if I go to plan, it doesn't show that icon anymore. It shows reservoir. And if I go to structures, there is no unmatched or unmapped structures. And let's do the same exercise with the pipes. I'm going to update. Then let's say for this pipe, I want to use a different style. So I will select the pipe, then I go to pipe properties. Then under the style, I will make a copy of this style. I will call it water, let's say pipe magenta. Then I go to display tab and I want to change the color, not to be driven by layer, but I want to use a magenta. Okay, I will do it for plan, model, magenta, profile, magenta, and of course I should do it for section as well. Section, magenta. Okay. Then I click OK, and I click OK. So this pipe now displays as magenta, and if I go to profile view, you will see that in a profile view it also displays as magenta. Let me go to Pipe Manager. OK. If I look to plan, there's nothing weird. But if I go to conduits, there's an unmatched. And here I can see that there's a problem with a P1. If I go to mappings, conduits, then I can see that water magenta doesn't have any conduit type assigned. And for water networks, we use pipe circular. Okay. And then if I go to conduits, there is no unmatched or unmapped pipe anymore, and everything is ready for the next steps.